Hey friends, welcome back to Law Creations. So what you're looking at here is vlog number 3. A little bit of everything. So everything and anything having to do with diorama making, processes, tips, techniques. And we're looking at creating a torch. So you can see here that I went much larger in regards to creating a specific torch for a specific diorama. So you can see the flame size I increased, and I actually went a lot larger on the stonework, and just so it could fit in scale more with that McFarlane Scorpion figure from Mortal Kombat. This particular torch will be a centerpiece for that, and I'm just showing here the other torches that I made, how really undersized they were in regards to scale. You know, I don't count them as loss, but I do count it as practice. So yeah, so you didn't miss anything in regards to, I didn't do anything different. And this is just a Scorpion figure from McFarlane, which is a really nice figure. I'm going to make a diorama for him, and I want the torch to be a centerpiece in that diorama. So I really needed to scale it a lot better than the others were. So that's the purpose of that. And that McFarlane figure is really nice. But I was contemplating whether or not to upload this video. Right there is some UV resin that I'll be using. And first time using it, and you'll see my mistakes in using it in a minute. That's just a UV light that will cure the resin. And I picked that cheap on Amazon. And I'm just showing you the paint that I use in regards to when I go to paint my torch, and you'll see the mistakes I made in creating the effects for the torch. I tried a wet on wet application, and I was a little disappointed with the results, but I just wanted to try it and test it out, and it actually took me a lot longer to paint it than I anticipated. So this is just how I did the hole for the tea light. I used a hot wire knife, and I just cut out the circle. I didn't record it because it's not rocket science. It's very simple, very basic. You just mark your hole, and then you cut it out either with a knife or with a hot wire knife. I find a hot wire knife a lot easier. And this is just I'm going to add some stone to a cup, just little pieces of scenic stone. I'm not really sure what brand it is, but you can use any brand. And right here you'll see my first mistake in what I did. So you can see here I'm just adding the UV resin. First time using this stuff, and it really doesn't cure on its own, so it needs that UV light or sunlight to cure. So I'm just going to lay down a foundation here, and then I pour the rocks on top of it. And I'm just hoping that, you'll see in a minute. So I'm just covering the UV resin, which is a mistake. So I don't recommend this pot. But this is why I was really considering not uploading this video, because I did a few things wrong, and I guess it can teach you what not to do. So because I covered everything, and I have to say to myself, how in the world am I supposed to cure this resin if it's at the bottom of all these rocks? So I give it an attempt anyway to try and cure it. So this is mistake number 1. Maybe that UV light is going in and curing that. So, and another mistake is I'm adding resin on top, which not necessarily is, because I'm going to cure it and block everything in. And I hope that bottom pot of the resin will cure over time. And maybe the heat from curing the top of it will cure the bottom. So if you were to do this, if I was to do this again, I would add the rocks first, and then add the UV resin on top of the rocks and let it soak in a little, and then hit it with the light. So that's the proper way to do it, not how I'm showing you. So I'm man enough to admit my mistakes, and like I say, it's trial and error, and it's learning as you go by trying new techniques. And this UV resin is really nice, this particular brand. I'm not really sure what brand it is, but if anybody's curious, just ask, and I'll put a link to it, and to the light as well. But yeah, you can see how I really increased my torch. I want it to be more of a raging fire rather than a small little campfire, and I really want it to accentuate, you know, a raging fire. So yeah, I was really contemplating not uploading this video because I did make a couple mistakes, but through my mistakes, hopefully I can teach you and how to do maybe the right thing and not necessarily my approach, which isn't always correct. So I'm not really sure why I'm doing adding this UV light to the bottom of the maybe I thought maybe the bottom layer of resin was seeping out, and I could cure it from seeping out. But I got no seepage, I got no leaks or anything, so I'm really hoping it just cured. I guess I'll never know. So yeah, but do what you guys feel is right to do in regards to creating, and try to learn from my mistakes, and pick up and learn from things. Hopefully I do a lot of things correctly, and I'll share with you how what things I do that appear to be correct, at least in my eyes. And like I say, there may be easier ways. So I'm just going in and texturing the concrete. I'm giving it a little bit of weathered textured look, and I do this with a rolled up aluminum foil. You can do it with rocks, you can do it with anything that will give you a desired texture for your concrete. And a lot of times, depending on how hard you press, I'm just going for a little subtlety, because I'm not going really extreme texturing. But you can texture it to your heart's desire, and be happy with your outcome. So I'm just going through the piece, and I'm not sure why I didn't do the whole piece. I think I only end up doing 2 more corners, and I just ended up doing weathering at a later time in regards to the texture. So you can see the bottom there. You have easy access to the on-off switch for the light, and you have easy access to change the battery when needed. So hopefully you can see here the texturing that piece of foil gives, and it's a very good technique. It's not original to me. A lot of people have used it, and it's a very good technique. So yeah, so we're going to be getting into painting here shortly. And like I was saying, I tried a wet on wet application, and all I really found myself doing was my first mistake was not letting things dry. My second mistake was not cleaning my brush in between colors. So basically, you'll see the process if you watch long enough. And I mean, I get okay results, but it just takes me a lot longer. So I'm just coming in with some orange. So I'm I'm doing a basic orange layer. And as we know, most fires are predominantly orange. So I use orange, yellow, and red. And like I've explained to you, I use airbrush paint because of the translucence of the paint. It's very transparent. It doesn't go on heavy. And I think you'll notice this through this process, that hot glue is very I don't know, shiny and very slick. So the paint sometimes has a hard time, airbrush paint at least, has a hard time adhering to it. So I'm just adding a good foundation of orange. And then I come in with some reds and some yellow, and by doing the wet on wet technique, is I just found myself cleaning off a lot of my previous layers, and I just it's very repetitive, and it's not recommended. If I recommend you doing what I'm doing, but give time for your first layer, your second layer of colors to dry, and then come in with your other colors, and then you can really accentuate a good looking flame. So what I end up doing is I just cut the video at 29 minutes because it's 20 minutes of me painting and doing things over and over and kind of expecting different results. So yeah, that's the definition of insanity, is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results, and that's kind of what I found myself doing here on this particular process. It's not my normal way of painting, and I wasn't going to upload the video, but I figured I would and just share with you things that I felt like I didn't do correctly, and I wouldn't do again. So yeah, that's the whole purpose of uploading this video. I mean, you can learn by doing by not doing things that you see others do, and maybe you like this technique. I don't mind it because, to an extent, I enjoy just the tedious parts of things, but I found this very repetitive. I found it very I don't know what the word I'm looking for, just not very efficient. Because now I'll come in with some yellow. I didn't allow anything to dry, and I just found myself heavy-handed in regards to painting. And I just come in with the yellow and nothing's dry, and it kind of just mixes, and I didn't clean my brush in between. And yeah, I honestly, I didn't enjoy this process at all. So I don't recommend wet on wet as I did it here. I was probably too heavy-handed, and all I end up doing is replacing the bottom orange layer with a yellow layer, or a mixed orange and yellow, and just gives you a lighter color. And that wasn't my intention. I wanted some contrast. I wanted you to be able to see the orange, and I wanted you to be able to see the yellow, you know, to have that contrast. And all I found myself is just blending, and I could have probably really cut this process down to like 10 minutes, but you live and learn as you go. I'm still learning. I by no means have the answers and have all the techniques down, but this is how I discover different techniques that work, and this is how I discover techniques that I probably wouldn't try again. Yeah, I wouldn't try this wet on wet technique again. I would let my first layer dry, then come in with the yellow, let that dry, then come in with the red, and then maybe at the end do a little bit of blending. And that's probably how I would do. Here you see me shut off the lights, and we'll see the glow effect here. The only downside to doing a flame this size is pretty much the base will just glow, and you don't necessarily get the top, but you get the same. You get the really nice effect of a fire there. So I'm pretty pleased with the outcome there. But I am my own worst critic, and depending on, I've allowed myself a lot of grace over the time to make mistakes and not be so perfection oriented, because as you learn and as you grow as an artist, you learn and you grow through your mistakes, through your mess ups, and you begin to learn what not to do, and then you begin to learn what to do that gives you the best results, and something that you work efficiently. So this is probably why it takes me so long to build and so long to do certain things, because I'm constantly experimenting. I find myself often doing different things. So right here I'm coming in with just some red, and I'm being a little heavy-handed with the red, and I think soon you'll see that the piece eventually just becomes red. So I think the word is counterintuitive, and I just counter everything that I try to do in this particular process. And that's why I still have almost 15 minutes worth of painting going on, probably to achieve a 10-minute look that that I could have achieved if I'd done things differently. So right now I'm just painting the rocks, and I'm giving it a I'll come in with a black wash later on the rocks, so it looks charred, and it looks like it's as it should. I think the end result, I think you guys will appreciate, how things look, and my flame will look a lot better because I'll do things a little bit differently in the end, and yeah. But so I'm trying something different. I recorded this video, and now I'm doing just a voiceover and just taking my time to explain things, and I'm starting to learn maybe how to edit a little bit better so I can present better quality videos and a better environment for you guys to learn. When I'm speaking on camera, as I'm doing, sometimes I feel rushed. Sometimes I'm not concentrating on what I'm doing. So if I'm just quiet and recording and then concentrating on working, maybe it will go a little bit smoother, and I can explain things a little bit better when I'm not working, and I can just observe actually what I'm doing. And it gives me a chance to watch my process. It also gives me a chance, to see mistakes I've made, and even to learn from myself what not to do again. So I'm just coming in, being a little heavy-handed on the red. I'm just trying to get the red into the grooves and into like a shadowing to try to help the contrast. But really, all I'm doing is fighting the process I'm trying to achieve by going wet on wet, especially on hot glue, something that doesn't take airbrush paint painted on with a paintbrush very well. It'd probably take it very well if I actually used an airbrush, but to paint it on it, it doesn't adhere all that great, and you probably really can't see on video very well, but in person you do see some contrast. But it's difficult right now to see on video. And I think the end result, you guys will appreciate the end result. Like I say, there's always an ugly stage to your diorama process, to your diorama making. And you have to work through that ugly stage to get to your desired effect. And I've been making dioramas lately for my figures, and I made, if you saw my video, my Mortal Kombat diorama. I ended up selling that. I was very pleased with how that came out, and since I got rid of social media, I find myself a lot more focused, a lot more, just more centered, and I find inspiration in different places, and most of all, I just find inspiration from from my own imagination, and that's how I want to gather most of my inspiration, is from within my own thought process. I just found social media just inspiration overload, and I was just getting really overloaded. I was comparing myself to others and being disappointed. I was just finding it not really suiting, what I wanted anymore. I'm not making a business out of my diorama making. I'm not really even looking to make a name for myself or anything. I don't really care about that. I just care about, trying to encourage and, really encourage people the enjoyment out of creating something, really pretty much out of nothing. A little bit of foam, some hot glue, and with a little creativity, you can make something and be very proud of it. And for me, it's the therapeutic value that it adds to my life. It's a healthy outlet, and it's a hobby I thoroughly enjoy. And I constantly I encourage people. So I changed my job. I went to school to be a drug addiction substance abuse counselor. So right now I work in a men's residential program, and we have 23 beds, and we deal with we deal with folks with so many different addictions, from alcohol to heroin, and people whose lives have just been devastated because of addiction. So that's what I do for a living, and I encourage a lot of my clients to find those healthy outlets, to discover healthy ways that make them happy. And I can't change them, but I can encourage them to change. And I work alongside of them and really and just try to encourage. And I share how much my own faith, my own family, and my own hobby really was so much a huge part of my own recovery from addiction and mental illness. And every day is a new day, and every day is a day that I look forward to creating. I think creating really occupies a huge part of my mind. It's really a huge motivation factor in my life, and just trying new things, and just it's something I feel I can do well and be proud of something. And it's 100% healthy. Obviously, I put my family first. You know, I have to work. I love spending time with my wife, and my kids are older now, so they really don't want much to do with me, but that's okay. I know they love me, and you know, I did a good job raising them, and then I just go down to the studio and I take time for myself, and I create. You know, when I'm having a tough day, and when I'm struggling, I just go down and I just find, you know, my little bit of creativity a safe haven for me. And that's why I do what I do. And yeah, so I'm just rambling, trying to find things to talk about as you watch me just go from orange to yellow to red, back to orange to yellow to red, and yeah, now I'm going back with a heavy yellow, trying to add highlights to something that is already a wet surface. So I'm not very proud of this particular painting process, but I did figure I would share it with you just to show you, you know, kind of show you what not to do for this particular process. And I would just, if I was to do anything differently, I would have let my layers dried and then came in with my contrast. I would have cleaned my brush in between. And right now I'm starting to realize, you know, I'm struggling, and I just have to see it through to the end and try to get the result I'm looking for. So I think I end up letting it dry overnight, and then I come back and I add some different highlights to try to capture. But that's kind of the look that I'm achieving through this very long process. So yeah, I just wanted to share it and show you. Like I say, I didn't want to, I really thought about, I recorded this a couple days ago, and I thought about not posting it, but I figured posting a video, even though I'm not 100% happy with it, you can still learn from it. And like I say, I'm my own worst critic. Maybe it's not as bad as how I feel it is, but I have learned to have grace and not be so hard on myself, and just I take it as a learning curve. So if you're a first-time viewer, I really appreciate you watching my videos. I appreciate all my subscribers. I have almost 3,600 subscribers, but I only get a few hundred views on my videos. So I constantly try to understand that, because a lot of the people that I'm subscribed to, I watch, but you know, to be honest with you, the majority of my views are from non-subscribers. And yeah, so I don't go by my subscriber number. I just go by the people that interact with me. And that's why I'll continue making videos, because even if these videos help one person and inspire you to create, I'll keep making them. I'm not making any money off of YouTube, and to be honest with you, I don't plan to. Even if my channel blows up, which I severely doubt, just because of, I'm honest, just because of my personality. And I'm older, and other than maybe I don't bring really that much to the table, other than, trying to show you my process and encourage you. I don't consider myself very entertaining to watch. So I'm just being honest. I've always been, I have a very dry sense of humor, personality, and as I say, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. And I'm rambling, and I'm really rambling now because I'm running out of things to say, because I'm just kind of getting frustrated with myself watching this and just seeing, how counterintuitive this really is. And just now making everything red again, expecting different results and really not achieving different results. So clean your brush, let your layers dry, and then come in, with a softer hand, and then add your highlights and add your contrast. I don't recommend wet on wet for a flame technique, as you see me doing here. Yep, not recommended. So, but I'm running out of things to say, and the video is almost over. And if I can just encourage you guys to subscribe, comment. Sometimes as a creator, I could use some encouragement too. Let me know if you're enjoying these videos, even though this particular process I'm not proud of. Let me know if you want me to make more, and if you enjoy seeing the process, or do you enjoy just seeing the final result of my work. So I think after this particular paint job, I end the video, and then I come in the next day. I think I already told you I fixed my flame, and it's a lot easier to do on a dried layer. And I end up just that particular top piece, I Mod Podge in black paint. I prime it, and I don't record that because anybody can paint a black layer onto anything. And I just mix a little bit of Mod Podge and a little bit of black paint, and it's kind of like a 50-50 mix. And then I just paint the stonework black, and then I'll come in and we'll do a little dry brushing, a little bit of painting, and chipping on the stone, and a little more weathering on that particular top piece. And I think what we'll do is do piece by piece, and just to not really overwhelm with the whole entire piece. But I'll take you through my steps and my process, even the steps and processes that I mess up and I'm not too happy with. So I appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate every single one of my subscribers. But to be honest with you, I appreciate even more the subscribers that interact and leave a comment, and who Facebook message me and talk to me, and I really appreciate this community. So I don't recommend a wet on wet on hot glue when it comes to flame making. And UV resin, I really like using UV. This particular brand cures really well, and I'm looking forward to using it in the future. And I think we're going to record the entire diorama process. So once we create this torch, we'll go into the diorama. But there's the final result of this crazy paint job. Thank you for watching, guys, and have a good night.